Hey everybody, it's Drew Scooter from Sleep With Me podcast. This video is just for people that's like, you can watch it obviously, but it'd probably be meaningless unless you're a supporter on Sleep With Me Plus. So the purpose, I'm going to try to post this everywhere. Um, well, I guess the first part is kind of applicable to all listeners. But yeah, thanks for watching this video. If you're watching this video, you're definitely engaged with Sleep With Me. Even if you don't support the show directly, you're watching this video. So I appreciate that. Um, Real quick, hopefully in 30 seconds, I could talk about, I've really been trying to refine for myself a better understanding in as few words as possible is like, what is the goal of Sleep With Me? I talk about this in a lot of big videos of like, yeah, the goal of Sleep With Me, my goal is to make the podcast that puts you to sleep. And that's always been the thing I've parsed all the major decisions of the show through. Mostly really hard ones that are scary or really hard for me. And then I've been trying to be like, okay, if that's my job is to make the podcast that puts you to sleep, like what's the job, like what's the goal of Sleep With Me, right? And you hear it a lot in the intro, but right now, at least this week, I've been trying to really pay attention to that because there's a lot of other competing goals, and most of those goals are stress and fear goals of making the show, or deadline goals. Oh boy, I just hit my vacuum cleaner off a charger. So I really think right now, for me at least this week, is like the job of Sleep With Me, and this lies under the surface of the show, is to relieve suffering, right? That's really what the goal of Sleep With Me is, through the unique way Sleep With Me does it, because there's a lot of different suffering that brings people to the show, but mostly it's like the inability to easily fall asleep and get the sleep we want and need. So I've just been thinking about that because a lot of times, especially in these whatever with uncertainty, I can get focused on the scary goals and lose track of one. My job is to make the podcast that puts you to sleep, and I really do mean that. Like the show is based on sending it out to one person's ears, but it's also like, well, what's the job of Sleep With Me? To put you to sleep? Well, not really. It's to relieve suffering in the deep dark night. So let me know what you think of that. Uh, yeah. And okay, so moving on. If you support the show and Sleep With Me Plus, speaking of stress, and I'm sorry, but I'm really so yeah, we've got a situation on our hands here, which is that last year at this time was when we got a lot of the most engaged people moved over from Patreon to Sleep With Me Plus, and a lot of those people were annual patrons, and we've had a massive amount of credit card declines, understandably, right? Most of those people, most of you moved over a year ago, and probably 33% of the declines are cards that changed in the past year. Another 33% are that you used to get charged by Patreon, now you're getting charged by Sleep With Me Plus. And another percentage, I think, is that the fact that the first time you got charged, you were prorated. And so your bank's like, hey, you got charged 14 years ago this year, but you're trying to charge $120 a year later. So if you could please check that. I'm going to walk through how to do that right now. And I really hope you're watching this video. It's really easy to check and really easy to fix. Like literally will take a minute. And it'd be huge if you could do that because, yeah. And a lot of people are canceling. I haven't looked at our Patreon numbers for our year-end cancellations, but it's tough times out there, right? So I understand that, and totally, if you're about to cancel the show, like reach out to see if we can work something out. But I send videos out anyway. Okay. The other thing that's really troubling is that that I want to make this video about is like, yeah, you're going to get charged your annual payment if you moved over from Patreon from Sleep With Me Plus. And I've had two people charge like fraudulent charges on that. And that's like devastating to the podcast. Like the bank, we only have one payment processor. And at some point, like if people say your charges are fraudulent, it's really bad. So I just want to make people aware if somehow you forgot, like, yeah, if you have an annual payment, it's set to renew, um, and it's going to renew from Sleep With Me. Um, and if you're in a position where you're like, you want a refund, please contact me. Like, please don't charge a chargeback or a fraudulent charge with your bank. Just reach out to me through the contact form on our website and we can work out a refund or something. But if I don't know there's a problem, I can't fix it. And that nuclear option I never realized it till I was running a business. Like, um, and they charge me money too. So it's like, I could just process you a refund. It's so much easier. Like, we get charged a dispute fee too. So please don't do that. And please be aware that if you have an annual payment, it is going to renew. Again, you could check that with this system. So please, if you did it or whatever, this isn't calling the people out that did it. Um, it happens, like, usually only happens like twice a year, but and some people are just like wired to do that. But I just don't want people being surprised. Like, I'm here to help. I'm easily contactable, and I'm not onerous, like about processing a refund. So please reach out to me. Yeah. So stress aside, let's run through how to fix this. If you're watching this and you're like, oh, I know my payment went through, or my payment doesn't go through till March or whatever, I'm also going to put a link for the testimonials, because as I try to figure out the podcast in 2025, and I mean, a lot of people are really going to lean on the podcast for a while now. I do have to bring more people in supporting the show, so I'm going to lean more on the testimonials, especially as I kind of put it through like, my messages to the public aren't necessarily converting people. So I got to find a new way to do stuff. All right. So how to update your payment method, check your payment method, go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Okay. And that will bring up this screen. Okay. Sign in. So you can sign in with your email, and this is easier for most people, and this is what most systems are, and it will send you an email with a passcode to sign in, so you don't have to remember a password. That's like a lot of people are moving that. Or you could click on this lower button, sign in with a password instead. So I use a password manager, so I'm going to sign in with a password instead. If you don't know your password, yeah, just use the code. Make sure you have access to the email. Anyway, you can always reach out to support at supercast.com if neither of these methods work. Because sometimes, yeah, people change their emails, or it's going to your spam folder, or you don't remember what email you signed up with. All right, so I'm going to sign in. Okay, when I sign in, it brings me to my dashboard, which for me looks like this. And again, right from that dashboard, right from the artwork, you could always add stuff to your podcast app. But what we're going to do is click on the upper right corner, that little box, and you could do this on a lap, whatever, a browser, a computer browser on your computer too. Okay, and if I click on that box, it says your profile, manage subscription, get help, sign out. I'm going to manage my subscription. All righty. All right, so it brings up my plan and billing, and my payment method. And for this account, this is one of the many accounts I have to try to help people. Like, all right, so this is a Boar Bestie account, and it says no payment method on file because I use Apple Pay. So one, if you are wondering, oh, that's to switch to yearly, so let's not do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is update my payment method, and you could either enter a card, or this account I'm using Apple Pay. What happens if I click Apple Pay? Let's find out. Oh, it brings up Apple Pay, and then I could change my payment method right in Apple Pay, which actually I'm going to do because I don't want to use that payment method. I would rather use this payment method. Then I'm going to double click. And that's done. But you could also enter a credit card. The thing is, sometimes for some people, Apple Pay throws things off. So if it does, you could always enter a credit card. And if your card keeps getting declined, you're gonna have to reach out to your bank and let them know, or try a different payment method. And you could always reach out to our support team for help. Support@supercast.com. Again, you could do that if you're looking to cancel your support. You could do that same method. If you click the right thing and then manage your subscription, you could go through the cancellation process. If for some reason, I think it's a common thing. I'm not, again, like, people will just let their payment method, they'll ignore everything, right? I'm trying to be, not trying to be proactive, because I didn't know this would be a problem. But proactively talk about this other stuff. Please don't charge the show. Please don't do a chargeback or a fraudulent thing. Just ask me for a refund. But also, please don't let your credit card expire and then just ignore it. Just cancel your subscription, because we put a lot of work into trying to help people update their credit cards. I send out videos. We send out emails. Yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, yeah, feel free to post them. If you're watching this on Sleep With Me Plus on your browser via email, you could always comment on this, like what you think about the goal of the show, or whatever. Or if you're watching this somewhere on social media, the best ways to get a hold of me is through the contact form on our website for anybody. If you particularly, like, on Facebook, I can't read the comments on Facebook anymore. In particular places, like for my own mental health, like, yeah, like I got to focus on making this podcast. And a lot of times people don't know how their comments impact the person that's making the stuff. And so I can't read comments on Facebook anymore. That's usually really the only place. Other places so far, but we'll see. And it's fine. It's not about, anyway. So the best way to get a hold of me to get something fixed, even if it's unrelated to this payment stuff, is either use our support team, because that's their job. They're there to help, or to reach out to me through the contact form on our website. We do look at comments and stuff, though I can't on there anymore. But yeah, we have, like, myself and the other team members do, but it's just hard because a lot of these social media things, they don't, I don't see the same thing you're seeing, right? Like, they hide comments or make it, because they're trying to make the web, whatever the priorities of that thing. So anyway, ramble over. Thanks everybody for listening to the show, for watching this video. Couldn't do it without you. Sleep well.